to 15.7 trillion naira by the end of December 2018.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikule Amosu.
Welcome to Celebration Television News Desk. I'm Bellis Quetta and thanks for joining us today. Now the news making the rounds, Lagos starts COVID-19 vaccination by weekend, says Sanwo-Olu. WTO members split over COVID vaccine patent waiver. Biden's $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill passes U.S. Congress. NIMC charges citizens to report corruption among staff. And in sports, Messi misses penalty as PSG knocked Barcelona out of Champions League. Stay with us as the details of the news come after the short timeout. Welcome back. Now the news in full. Lagos starts COVID-19 vaccination by weekend, says Sanwo-Olu. The Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, on Wednesday said the state will start the rollout of the COVID-19 vaccine at the weekend. Sanwo-Olu, who stated this when he received the country's representative of the World Health Organization, Dr. Walter Mulombo, at the State House Alausa, noted that the committee set up for the vaccine administration was in the final stage of the deployment of the vaccine. And the governor, in a statement by the Chief Press Secretary, Gboyega Kosile, said he was optimistic that the vaccine rollout would be successfully implemented, adding that the state's primary healthcare board will lead the effort in achieving herd immunity. Mulombo said the World Health Organization recognized the state government's contribution towards making Nigeria polio-free, noting that the country had shown courageous efforts in its response to stop COVID-19. And in another development, appeal court orders ex-minister and others retrial over alleged 450 million naira fraud. The Court of Appeal in Gombe State has ordered the case involving a former Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Abdul Bulama, and 4 others to be reassigned to another federal high court for retrial. And the former minister was arraigned by the Maiduguri Zonal Office of the EFCC on Friday, May 29, 2018, before Justice Issa Dashen of the Federal High Court in Damaturu, Yobe State, on a 7-count that bordered on money laundering to the tune of 450 million naira. Bulama was prosecuted alongside Mohammed Kadai, a former commissioner for integrated and rural development in Yobe State and deputy coordinator of the Goodluck Jonathan campaign organization, Abba Tata, Mohammed Mamu and Hassan Ibn Jaks. And in the case of the trial, counsel for the EFCC, Mukhtar Ahmed, presented 6 witnesses and tendered several documents that were omitted in evidence by the court. At the close of the prosecution's case, the defendants opted for a no-case submission. Justice Issa Dashen of the Federal High Court upheld the no-case submission, discharged and acquitted all the defendants. And dissatisfied with the ruling, the EFCC filed an appeal asking the appeal court to set aside the decision of the lower court. The appeal court, in its judgment on March 3, 2021, upheld the argument of the EFCC that the lower court erred in discharging and acquitting the defendants. And also moving forward, wage bill protests. National Assembly Labour meets on Tuesday as sponsor knocks unions. The leadership of the National Assembly will, on Tuesday next week, meet labor leaders over a bill which seeks to remove the minimum wage negotiations from the exclusive legislative list. And the majority leader of the House of Representatives, Al-Hassan Ado-Doguwa, disclosed this on Wednesday while addressing workers who marched to the National Assembly complex in Abuja to protest the bill. But the sponsor of the bill, Mr. Dati Mohammed, in an interview, took a swipe at the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress, saying they should be civil in their opposition to the bill and stop attacking him. And addressing the workers, Ado-Doguwa announced that the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, whom he said was in Lagos, had fixed a meeting between the lawmakers and the union for Tuesday. And as early as 9 a.m. on Wednesday, about 2,000 protesters had besieged the main entrance of the National Assembly, and the labor leaders thereafter presented their petition to the House and the Senate. And copies of the petition were received by Ado-Doguwa on behalf of the Speaker and the Deputy Chief Whip of the Senate, Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, who represented President of the Senate, Dr. Ahmad Lawan. And moving forward, the news coming from around Africa. World Trade Organization members split over COVID vaccine patent waiver. Member countries of the World Trade Organization have been unable to agree on a proposal for a waiver from patents and other rules for efforts to combat the pandemic. And the initiative led by South Africa and India is intended to support the widespread production of the vaccine treatments and medical equipment for COVID-19. The WTO members agreed to continue the discussions. The organization's rules require member countries to protect patients and copyrights so that investors can make and return on their investments. But the Indian delegation at the WTO told the meeting that the world is not producing enough vaccines despite the existence of several approved ones and unused manufacturing capacity. And the proposal to waive the patent rules is intended to make it easier for some developing countries to produce vaccines themselves. A number of rich countries, along with Brazil, opposed the proposed waiver. They say patents are important incentives for innovation, and they say the rules already have enough flexibility for the current crisis. The Indian delegates said the waiver was being opposed by the same countries that had hoarded more vaccines than they needed, which was hindering a coordinated global program. And still from around Africa, U.S. lists Mozambique and DR Congo rebels as terrorists. The U.S. has designated rebel groups in Democratic Republic of Congo and Mozambique as foreign terrorist organizations. It said the groups Allied Democratic Force and Al-Ansar al-Sunnah, locally known as the Al-Shabaab in Mozambique, were affiliated to the global jihadist group Islamic State. And their leaders have been named as specially designated global terrorists. And they now face sanctions as a result of the designation. Amongst other consequences, all property and interest in property of those designated that are subject to U.S. jurisdiction are blocked, and the U.S. persons are generally prohibited from engaging in transactions with them, the U.S. State Department said in a statement. The ADF is one of many rebel groups operating in eastern DR Congo, a mineral-rich area where government and UN forces have long battled to bring stability. And the group has reportedly killed hundreds of civilians since the country's army launched an operation against them in late 2019. Mozambique's Ansar al-Sunnah has been responsible for dozens of terrorist attacks in recent years, killing more than 1,300 civilians since October 2017, the statement noted. We're going to a short break right now. When we come back, we get more updates from the United States of America.
desire a place to seek the face of God? As a minister of God, do you need a quiet place for divine accessibility? Are you looking for a place to express hunger for quick response? Mount Carmel is here to empower your prayer fire and deliver quick evidences to your hands. Experience the unusual at Mount Carmel, located at kilometer 132 Benin Okene Abuja Expressway, Auchi, Edo State, Nigeria. For information, please call witness the difference at Mount Carmel.
The voice of God is the Holy Ghost. The message of the church is Christ. But the hand of God is the church.
Several years ago, the Lord gave me a mandate, an instruction to gather ministers of God. Said gather them for a program tagged the minister without blemish. Are you a pastor? Are you an evangelist? Are you a prophet, a teacher, an apostle? Do you have a calling to any area of ministry? It's a time out where we are not just educated but renovated, where we are modified, fine-tuned into what God wants from us as ministers of the gospel.
Hey! Prophetic mantle. Hey! Fresh! Hey!
You'll be encouraged, you'll be charged up.
It is only a man that is full that will stand and will have something to deliver. It is only a man that is full that will stand out in his generation.
Date 23rd through 26th March 2021 by 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. GMT+1, happening at the International Worship Center, Omega Fire Ministries, kilometer 132 Benin Okene Abuja Expressway, Auchi, Edo State, Nigeria. For inquiries, please call.
You will meet with God. I'll see you in March edition of the Minister Without Blemish.
Welcome back. Now from around the United States of America, Biden's $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill passes U.S. Congress. President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion relief bill to help Americans deal with the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic has cleared its final hurdle in Congress. The House of Representatives approved the massive economic aid plan 220-211 on Wednesday along the partisan lines, with no Republican voting in favor. And having already passed through the Senate, the relief package now heads to Mr. Biden's desk to be signed into law. This sixth COVID-19 relief bill is a major legislative win for Mr. Biden. The bill passed with all but one House Democrats voting in favor. And White House spokesperson Jen Psaki said the president will sign the bill into law on Friday. The bill is about giving the backbone of this nation of America, the essential workers, the working people who build the country, the people who keep the country going, a fighting chance, Mr. Biden said. And he later vowed to share any surplus COVID-19 vaccine globally after ensuring that Americans are immunized. And moving forward, onto Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland executive to discuss full return of people to school. And the Northern Ireland executive will meet today to discuss when all children should return to school. Education Minister Peter Wire wants all pupils in Northern Ireland back in the classrooms by the 12th of April. A paper from Mr. Wire recommends that all primary pupils who have not yet returned to school should start on the 22nd of March. And primary school children are due to resume remote learning on that date, with year 12 to 14 back to school. Mr. Wire has said he wants to scrap the plans for pupils in primaries 1 to 3 or who return to class on Monday to revert the remote learning. And the minister argued that the plans do not make enormous sense and that those years groups should be allowed to continue with face-to-face learning. And Department of Health advisors previously warned against a full return of schools like in England, instead recommended a phased approach. And now moving forward on the business news, the NIMC charges citizens to report corruption among staff. The National Identity Management Commission has asked citizens to report any form of extortion and unwholesome practices among its staff through official platforms or by lodging complaints via its website. The NIMC, in a statement signed by its head corporate commissions Kayode Adegoke, reiterated that it's zero tolerance to corruption, fraudulent activities and extortion in the process of enrollment and other activities. And the commission also called on the global general public to desist from being enablers of extortion, and it will not condone any act of capable or destroying its integrity. And still on business news, Senate panel summons Accountant General over TSA remittances. The Senate Committee on Finance on Wednesday summoned the Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, to appear before it over alleged inadequate remittances to the single treasury account. The chairman of the Senate panel, Senator Solomon Adeola, disclosed this while addressing journalists on the committee planned investigation into the alleged poor remittances of the ministries, departments, and agencies of government to the TSA. Adeola said there was no record that the Accountant General had carried out a comprehensive reconciliation of the TSA since its full implementation in 2015. The senator said government should check leakages to prevent recurring yearly government deficit. And we'll go on a short break right now, and when we come back we get full details of sports news. Welcome back, and now on sports news. Ligue 1, late Cruzan's header gives Sampaoli winning start at Marseille. Jorge Sampaoli made a dream start to life as Marseille coach on Wednesday with a 1-0 win over Rennes, secured by substitute Michael Cruzan's late header. Former Argentina and Chile boss Sampaoli took over a team languishing outside the European places in Ligue 1 on a run of just 2 wins in 14 matches, and who were embarrassed by 4-tier amateur side Canet Rosignan in the French Cup at the weekend. And Rennes have also been tumbling down to the table, and they have now suffered 5 straight league defeats. The 2 out of form teams unsurprisingly struggled for most of the match at the start the Velodrome, managing just 4 shots on target between them. But Sampaoli rung the changes late on its and paid off. And on loan Bayern Munich midfielder Cruzans was in the right place at the right time in the 88th minute, nodding in fellow subs Luis Enrique's cross to score his first Ligue 1 goal. The result moved Marseille back up into 6th, 2 points behind 5th place Lens in the race to qualify for the inaugural European Conference League. And now finally on the news desk, and still on sports news, Messi misses penalty as PSG knocked Barcelona out of Champions League. Lionel Messi scored 1 stunning goal, but then had a penalty saved as Barcelona failed in their attempt to produce a second Champions League comeback for the ages against Paris Saint-Germain on Wednesday, a 1-1 draw, taking the French side through to the quarterfinals 5-2 on aggregate. Kylian Mbappe had netted a hat-trick as PSG stunned Barca 4-1 in the first leg last month, and he extended the advantage in his last 16 tie by netting a first-half penalty in the second leg to put last season's runner-up ahead on the night. But Messi made it 1-1 with a ferocious strike from 30 meters as the Argentine had a chance to put the visitors ahead after Antoine Griezmann was fouled in the area, only for the outstanding Kylian Navas to tip his spot kick. Will nevertheless be encouraged by the way his team played on a cold, wet and windy night at the empty Parc des Princes. And Barcelona have been a club in crisis for some time, but they have a new president in Joan Laporta who would hope to restore calm at boardroom levels, and they can still have hopes to finish the season strongly domestically. And meanwhile, PSG are in the end safely through to the quarterfinals as they look to go one better last season and win the Champions League for the first time. They will feel this time marks another steps forward their quest for becoming Europe's dominant forces after 3 defeats at Barcelona's hands in knockout ties since the Qatar Sports investment takeover of a decade ago. And that's the size of the news for us on Celebration Television News Desk. If you're just joining us, here is a recap of the news making the headlines. Lagos starts COVID-19 vaccination by weekend, says Sanwo-Olu. WTO members split over COVID vaccine patent waiver. Biden's $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief bill passes U.S. Congress. NIMC charges citizens to report corruption among staff. And on sports news, Messi misses penalty as PSG knocked Barcelona out of Champions League. And today on our photo of the day, we can see that image of 2 people in between some things which are like hindrances. And there are 2 types of people in life: the ones who will give up when faced with a challenge, and the ones who would walk their way out no matter how challenging things may seem. So the question is, which one are you, or which of them are you? Tell us your thoughts and tell us who you are among these 2 people on our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are Celebration TV. On Instagram, we are My Celebration TV. On Twitter, it is at My Celebration TV. And on YouTube, it is Celebration TV. Don't forget that your positive contribution to the wellness of the society you find yourself in or the organization you work in defines Your leadership might. As an individual who knows what to do and do without expecting to be pushed has backed his ways to success. Be it known today that everything we do, think, feel, and believe either have a positive or negative effect on humanity and our national well-being. So be a part of nation building today. Thanks for watching the news on Celebration TV News Desk. I'm Belly Squatter. Have a nice day.
To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2018.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offence.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikunle Amosun.